a bus, it's the last ride out of town. Not the best deal for my desperate concern.
So, I'd like to welcome you to a special edition of the stream where I try to show you again how to take a really nice bit of in-engine art using Nvidia Ansel. And yeah, as soon as I can get this thing working the way I want it to work, we can go ahead and get this thing kicking. For some reason, it doesn't want to catch Tekken quite so easily. There we go. Alright, so what we're going to do here is I've got a request from a user on Reddit named Bond to the Kai. He wanted a purple suit Kazuya doing Electric Wind Godfist. And what we're going to do to achieve that is we're going to go into practice mode, as you can see. And I'm going to go ahead and choose left side. The way I go about getting individual character shots is to get two versions of the same character, especially if I have to look through a move set. Because if you look through a move set on your side through the command list, it tends to you can go through and look at each move individually, whereas if you set it for the computer, you kind of have to know what move you're looking for, or you're going to go through twice the amount of wait and see to see if it's the exact thing you want. But since I know exactly what I'm looking for, I'm actually going to set up a bit of a rivalry match or something, if you want to call it that. So what I'll do here, I'll get a professional looking Heihachi, and I will get a purple suited Kazuya as requested. Your stage selection matters quite a bit in terms of what type of light you're going to be dealing with. I'm probably going to choose, I always err on the side of something more darker. I like the way that turns out a bit better. Sometimes if you want more color pop, you'll pick a lighter stage. Things such as let's see, jungle stages really give you full sun, really allow the colors to pop. It's good for action shots, but if you're looking for more drama, you want to go for something with more lighter shadow. Like the Mishima Dojo is another good one. Forgotten Realm, you see a lot of shadows, especially if that with Hammerhead. There's a section there where it's got a lot of good shadows. There's a couple things like that exist in here, and you can kind of pick which stage suits the way you want to make your shot look. But for this one, it's a toss-up between Abandoned Temple with the Red Moon or the Mishima Dojo. And I'm thinking I might go Mishima just on principle. So yeah, let's try that out. Alright, so now that we're here in the actual screen, you see, just like it would be in the game. So, from here, let's go to frame our shot. The way I'm going to do this, that way you don't have to sit there and nudge people into place, which is a huge pain in the ass. I'm going to go to CPU opponent action. We're going to set it to controller. And I'm going to say that, say this, and then I'll be able to actually back up Kazuya using the keyboard to get my hitbox on real quick. I really like that statue. I'll try to capture that with it. Go back this way. Problem is you kind of overcorrect a little bit, so you kind of have to duck and dodge and weave here and there a little bit to kind of get it to look the way you want it to. Get the right angle. Plus, they'll always turn, so you can always get a little bit of a different pose, because they'll look at you from over the shoulder. So if you ever want to get like a random pose or pulling a move from a specific direction, then that's a good way to achieve that. So what I'm going to do now is back up with Heihachi and give Kazuya a wide berth. So the reason why I've set Kazuya as the second player is because EWGF requires a pretty tight timing window, and anything you'd have to do on first player controller, you'd have to actually perform the move and then try to snap the picture as the move completes, which is like basically trying to like jump in the air and hit something 8 feet off the ground while keeping, grabbing your keys off the floor with your toes at the same time. Like, it's physically impossible. You can't be in two places at once. So what we're going to do here is we are actually going to go to set this back to repeat action. And I'm going to go to move list. We're going to go find EWGF real quick. Right about here. Yeah. Cool. We're going to set it to play. Hold Alt and press F2 when it actually gets done. Now here's the problem with trying to snap these shots, is the fact that you have to time it correctly, and the first time you try to take a picture, it does introduce a bit of delay. Subsequent shots don't really get subject to that, but I've noticed that whenever you enter the menus, it kind of fucks with that a little bit. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna back out, we're gonna stop that, oh, I didn't want to tackle him. Alright, back up some. Alright, then we're going to do this again. We're going to hit play. No, wrong button. A little bit closer. There we go. Now, the problem you get into with anything involving a hit effect, like the electrics, look at this thing, how the electric part never really moves. It's a 2D sticker placed on top of a 3D object in a 3D world, and holy shit, this thing looks goofy. Plus, look at the way he's twisting. It does look super alien right there, and I'm not a big fan of how that looks with that jacket. But like I said, we're going to try to take our picture at the angle that's not this, because it does look mighty fucked up. You don't catch it during gameplay because it happens so fast that the eye never really registers how fucked up it looks. But yeah, like this thing right here is constantly in the way, and you want to kind of catch some of the electricity because, hey, it's Electric Wind Godfist, right? But trying to is a huge pain in the ass because no matter where you go, that fucker is in front of you. Like, it doesn't matter. You have a big electric M no matter where the hell you go. So it becomes a bit of a pain in the ass, and trying to do that, and yeah, you'll see. So try to time it to where I don't see as much pop. Hell. That's actually not too bad. That's not too bad at all, because I can actually do that and make it look real nice. And plus you get to catch a statue in the background, which I'm a big fan of. Only problem is you still get that fucked up looking bend right there. But whatever, we're going to try to not focus on that nearly as much by way of proper alignment of everything else. So we're going to bring this over here. I'm going to try to keep this in line. Hopefully, see what happens when you twist it though. You tilt your camera and suddenly like the 2D sticker turns along with you because it's built around the camera's position, not the place of the sticker on the 3D model in the 3D space. So as you do this, it fucks with you so bad. I hate this fucking thing. So what we're gonna do instead, here, I'm actually gonna bring this up some. And plus his arm looks comically large because of the field of view slider. Like, the more you slide out for field of view, the more fisheye lens you get. So you look like this goofy looking arm. So what we're going to do is we're going to back that up some. We're actually going to set that to about a 70. And that should give us a little more. Oh, hell, we can even take it further. Let's go down to about 55. Come on now. Where are you at? 55. There we go. The problem is when that happens, you got to deal with that thing. All right, well, here we go. Cool. So what we'll do is we'll actually get that going here. Back this up some. We'll try to fit more CAS in there. That'd be nice. Get more CAS. There we go. There we go. And then we'll bump that down some. And we'll actually get more Kazuya in the shot that way. Back down a little bit. Yeah, now we're hitting the floor. But that's okay. Because what we're going to do is we're going to tilt that to give it a little bit more dramaticism. And here we go. So that is an interesting shot right there. So, to me at least, that's interesting framing. So, now that we've kind of got an idea where we want our framing to go, we have a bunch of stuff over here on this side where you have all your filters and all your light balances and all that good happy bullshit. Now, this is a stage that is dark. It is nighttime, and it's primarily lit with things such as oh hell, help me out here. Candles, flames, small fire sources, shit like that. So what I want to do is I want to kind of give that sort of natural light a thing. There we go. Let's back that up some too. Usually before every shot, I like to set all, because it keeps all your balances. So I like to set all my balances back down to 0 so I can kind of work with it by default. I like to zero them out or get as close as possible. And then when you zero everything out, it looks normal. It looks like a normal game engine shot would. Here we go. Let's turn the HDR toning down. Turn the bloom down to 50%. Sharpen that shit down. Depth of field. Well, I mean, at that point, you get full clarity all the way through. Tilt shift. Night mode is off. Alright, cool. So this collection right here is usually the filters that I make the use of. Everything else beyond that is like green screen, colorblind, which is like removes certain colors or puts emphasis on certain color dichromatics. Letterbox, old film, like shit like that. I really don't fuck with all those because a lot of those are just a little too extra. So what I tend to do here, like for this shot, I really want to kind of emphasize darkness, because Kazuya is a bit of a dark character, but I don't want to lose facial expression. I don't want to lose detail in the suit. I don't want to lose detail in the background, and I damn sure don't want to lose this baller ass statue in the back. So what we're gonna do is start fucking with things, and you're gonna see me tweak a lot of these settings over and over and over again to try to strike a balance of what I feel is super cool. And hopefully you agree, and hopefully Bon to the Kai agrees as well. So let's start off. Exposure, you can crank that shit up and really like or you can like set it down some. I usually err on the side of dropping the amount of light hitting the lens or hitting the aperture. So I try to drop the exposure down a little bit because less light tends to hand a greater emphasis on the drama, whereas more light just tends to make for pop. Although with more light, and occasionally set the bloom setting on its own as well, notice how the electricity changes. So when it's pulled all the way down, you get like a nice little 2D sticker look. But when you crank it up, the shit looks like actual sparks in motion. And there's other things you can do to kind of influence that. Like, I want to say highlights doesn't do it, but I know bloom will. Yeah, see? So you can crank up the bloom, and it'll do the same shit. But, considering the rest of the scene, I'm going to drop this down here. And we can always fuck with it later. So, first thing I'm going to do to start off with, I've always felt that the best thing to start doing with a shot you're going for high drama for is to start messing with black levels. Injecting darkness into it is your first order of business. Now it's like, oh, already you're like, holy shit, this is too dark. What the fuck are you doing? Well, patience. So what we're going to do here, crank up the gamma balance, turn up the white, and it will offset that some. Or you can start touching the exposure again, and that will also offset it. Now, I'm not going to keep the contrast and shadows like together. I don't think I'm going to keep them that high because, again, it'll start taking away from detail of the face and the clothes. But look at what it's done to the statue back here. Look at like just the darkness that's added to it. Like, just an atmosphere-wise. Let's turn the exposure back down. See how it's all, you know, it's kind of like, oh, there's a statue and some like bronze and shit. But man, you crank that shit up, that fucker looks ominous. You know what I mean? That's what I'm after. So let me go ahead and drop that. I'll just keep it at a 0 for now because we might have to fuck with that a little bit later. I'm gonna add a little bit of white balance to it to bring some of the light back up. And then we're going to add the HDR, which HDR makes colors pop like tremendously. You do that, otherwise it kind of washes it out. But if you bring that up some, it not only will it raise the brightness, but it'll also bring a lot more color in there, which causes the background to be a little more vibrant. Colors everywhere be a little more vibrant, but it also causes things to be a little more visible. You can do the same thing with bloom, and bloom just really kind of says like, oh, how soft do you want the light to be? How much of that pop do you want? And honestly, I don't want a ton of it, but I want a little bit of it. Also, something to really avoid. The contrast level is set at 0 by default, and it gives everything this really shitty, hazy look. Like, it looks like you're trying to take a picture when the shower's running. And, I mean, if you like that, then by all means, snap your shots. But I think that shit looks so just gross. So you will see a lot of my shots involve a little higher contrast level just to kind of offset that bullshit. So here we go. From there, now, clarity, you can see what clarity does, especially if you want to take a look at something like Kazuya's skin. So pay attention right up here, or even in the statue, or even this guy right here. So as I turn that down, you'll actually see that it gets softer. But I don't want to go like super edgy, but I definitely want to like have more definition there. So we're going to keep that at probably about 45. Sharpen just kind of sharpens all the edges and all the little details. You'll notice especially here in like the coat, there's like definition in there now, whereas now it's more like bumps. Now it's kind of flattened out. So we're going to add a little bit, not much though. I don't like to go overboard on too many things, not unless it's like certain scenarios. So, what are we doing here? Alright, so here's your tint intensity, and so you can actually set a tint color. Now, I'm actually going to fuck with that a little bit and set the tint color for a yellowish red. That way it has more of the, yeah, orangish. There we go. Let's do that. So that's going to be more of like candlelight, right? Actually, if we're going to go to candlelight, it's probably going to be closer to that. Yeah, we'll play with that. So, remove all that from it. You add a little bit to it, though, and you can influence a little bit of the subtle color balance, which is kind of nice. You can offset your blues and reds and things like that. Temperature can also do that as well. You can just kind of like modify that shit and fuck with it. So if I've already set my tint color to a yellow, then I'm probably going to take the temperature a little bit colder, because that way it will kind of play against each other. So, and plus it's nighttime, so it's going to have colder light anyway. But then let's add this to it, and it'll inject a little bit of warmth on top of it, so you get a nice nighttime look with a little bit of candlelight. And you're like, all right, cool, well, it looks all right, but still got, you know, a lot of color. Just wait. So we're going to add vibrance to it, so it really gets that color pop. And yeah, it looks kind of cartoony, but again, just hold on. So retro filter is going to do like an Instagram sort of effect, where everything looks kind of like a Polaroid. What I like about it is the fact that it adds a little bit of distortion to the sides, and it also kind of does a vignette sort of effect on the sides as well, in the corners. I don't go a little wild with it, but I do like to bend it a little bit. So I'm going to usually add about 8 or 9% there, just to kind of like, just to nudge it a bit. Sepia tone's the same way. You turn it all the way out, it all becomes like super dramatic old style gangster films or whatever. You know, you bring it down, the more rustic it looks, but you're still kind of washing everything out. But full color, like, notice the difference at like 23%. It's subtle, but it's there. So you get kind of a more natural look if you just add a little bit to the mix. Same thing with this, and I think this is probably the most important thing right here, is the black and white intensity. So if you're going to go high contrast and you're going to like try to make darkness a sort of theme of the picture, you're going to probably be adding a lot of color and light in specific spaces that haven't been darkened down in order to compensate. But then you have something where everything looks like it's too colorful, or it pops a little too much to be, you know, dark. This is where black and white really comes in, because this will actually just turn it to a black and white photo all the way up. But if you take it to about here, let's say about 35%, it's still dark, but everything is still looks like an actual picture, and you actually get more of a realistic film style look that way. But here I'm going to add a little bit more color than that, and I'm probably going to only bring it to about a 20, because I really want the rest of the stuff to pop from some of the stuff I'll be doing a little bit later on. So depth of field is where you set the blur, and whoa, let's blur it out. So we set our far blur curve, which won't really make a difference when it's all washed out like this anyway. Blur radius, you're like, oh, Jesus Christ. So push that back some, and you'll notice there's like a bit of a wave. So if I go far blur curve, I set that curve here, and suddenly I'm like, okay, cool. Well, now this is all set up here. Well, I can actually push that curve back, and suddenly the bubble that creates the blur is only going so far. And then I can like, okay, well, let's just fuck with the depth a little bit. And it's pushing that bubble back all together. I can set that curve a bit lower. Let's set that guy like 34, 35%. Here we go. And let's bump that down some. And now you have something where your foreground is clear and your background has been blurred. And you can add a lot, add a little. I prefer to go just a little bit subtle. Probably about there would be nice. Probably bring the focus depth back a little bit. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the blur radius, because you turn the blur radius up and it's like, oh shit, look at all that fuzz. And really you've ruined the statue in the background, and that's what I don't want to do. I want to blur it a little bit, but I don't want to fuck with the statue that much. So I'm going to turn the blur radius down a little bit, but I'm noticing that like I'm still not getting the clarity on the statue. So here's where you got to really fine tune what's going on. Now we still have our foreground there, and our background's blurred a little bit, but you still have a lot of details there that don't lose the plot. Tilt shift is interesting, and I love using it, but I don't like to lean on it super hard. So the idea for tilt shift is, let's drop our blur curve down. You'll notice that when it's all said and done, it blurs the whole damn screen. You're like, what the fuck for? So let's turn the blur curve up just a little bit, and you'll notice there's a line here that's super clear while everything else is not. You can twist this axis here and get a focus on what it is you want, and this really helps when something is centered in frame, but for here it's not. And what we're going to end up doing here is I'm going to come across with the eyes, the fist, and try to catch the statue. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually drop that blur size down a little bit. We're going to up that curve. And now you can see, all right, there's some blur here and there's some blur there. And you actually have your subjects pretty well framed. And night mode cranks up more of the warmth. Add a little bit of that. And it helps almost like sepia does. Now, are we done? Fuck no. We're going to try to sharpen it up a little bit over here. I'm going to tell it to ignore most of the film grain effect. Now that we've already gotten all this stuff tooled up kind of the way we want it, now it's time to really go through and do a little more fine tweaking. So I really want this to be a little bit cleaner and clearer. Problem is doing so, yeah, that's about as good as I'm gonna get it. So now that we're here, how do we offset all this? Well, I want it to be a little more dramatic back there. I don't want to wash it out completely, but I definitely want to make it a little darker and more menacing. I'll bring up the exposure just a tad because I want to make sure you can see his face. And let's see, gamma values do not need to be raised. So let's actually keep those somewhat low. Let's say 20%. 19, 21, we'll err on 19. So bump the black and white just a tad. 25, 26. Vignette is the blurring at the edges, as you can see. So I just want to add a little bit to there, especially considering that two of these corners up here and right here are going to be blurred. Let's see what else. I'm going to go turn down the vibrance just a tad, offset everything else. Sharpness some. HDR toning. Can I bring that down some? Yeah, I probably could. There we go. This one there. Alright, now let's see what else. Here comes the part where I start robbing Peter to pay Paul. Alright. Nice and ominous back there, but we're also dropping our visibility like a fucking hot rock. So crank this bad boy up some. Exposure. Alright, so we're cranking up exposure to try to see if we can get more light. We need to turn the gamma balance down. And we need to drop some of the bloom as well, because the bloom's causing that shit to go wild. So let's even out his face. Alright. %. Drop the contrast down. Drop shadows down 65. Alright, cool. That gives us a little bit better look there. And then let's add a little more sepia tone. Add a little more night mode. Someone's messaging me. Alright. What's going on here? 15. Night mode's not really helping what I want. Let's go to black and white and see what we get going on there. I'm gonna wash it out with a little bit of monochromatics. Alright. That's probably as close as I want to take it, because that gets the drama, that gets the details, that gets everything I want. And how this looks, it won't necessarily look just like this when you take the shot. In fact, I may want to add a little, just a little bit of gamma balance just to highlight the fact that there is in fact a background there. And then once that's done, we got to up shadow some to compensate the increase. And there we go. So let's snap that. There we go. There's a screenshot, but considering I want to send that out, let's go super res. Get 2 times res, 3 times res, and then 4 times res. Alright, so now that's done, you still got this guy doing his bullshit. Stop him from doing that. Let's let him punch Dad real fast. We'll punch him in the face. In fact, I think that's... There we go. It'll pop up and automatically look at me. Alright, so what we're going to do here, I'm going to go back and do this shit again. There we go. I'm going to go kapow, and now notice the delay. Means I got to offset that. So now the 3D hit effects, the sparks and whatnot, they all operate as a bit of a light source, but they're also, as you can see, they get in the fucking way. It looks cool, but when you have like the hit rings distorting them and all of the sparks flying, it's tough to actually get a shot of an impact being made. Pain in the ass. So you have to get right on it right as it hits. Too early. And plus the filter settings I had set doesn't really help anything either. But we'll see. Ah, like so. Not too bad. Yeah, caught it just as it happened. But notice that, yeah, it's not good. We're gonna have to try again. Nope, too early. Too late. Yeah, it doesn't look good at all. What I can do here's what I will do with that though. Tell you what I am going to do. I am going to take this. Here, let's go this way. Make sure that guy stays in the frame. All right, center him up. Alright, now that that's done, let's drop that field of view to something much smaller. Let's try 45, something like that. You want to get real close in on him. Back that up ever so slightly. Alright, so let's bring it down some more. No, it's too far. It's, man, this is a real specific spacing sort of thing. Alright, so let's get that kicking. Make sure this is here. Let's hide the panel. There we go. Alright, we're going to change a few things naturally. So, now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our tilt shift. First things first, let's go ahead and crank up that blur size again and turn down that curve so we can see our line. Now that we see our line, let's reposition the line to where it favors action. So we want to make sure it favors his fist and the through line coming away from the direction of his arm all the way down to the direction of his shoes. See that? Right, carve that through line. We could probably actually tweak that just a tad. Is 180 going to do it? Yeah, right about there. Yeah, because that way it's in the middle of his shoe. So, let's hit insert. Now that we have a bit of a closer look at him, we can actually tweak that a little bit more. So we can actually get that high drama shot. Drop that exposure. Get a little bit more of that darkness in there. Because Kazuya is a dark motherfucker. He is not a nice guy. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna turn up them shadows. Maybe turn down the contrast, turn up the shadows. Yeah, let's do that. That's not about color. It's just the black levels. And let's details. Let's turn the bloom down some. I hate the fact that it has snap. Like, bam, there's a snap, and then you move to 51, and suddenly it's like, oh, you got to jump up like 5%. Like, it didn't used to do that until a very recent update, and I don't like that at all. Oh gosh, what's going on here? Sorry for the yawn. Not enough coffee, I guess. So, vibrance. We're gonna turn the vibrance up. Probably turn the 10 intensity up just a tad, not much. Let's also, this is the spot where doing the retro style filter actually helps out quite a bit because it gives you more emphasis to this, the outer edges and pushes the center in. It's actually good at panel. Yeah, let's make sure our fist is still in frame. So with that done, turn that up just a hair. Now, what I want to do here actually is remove the tint from that, so it focuses more on the blue. There we go. Let's try that. And these will be seen by the person who requested them. They'll also be available on my Nvidia profile, which I should totally share here actually. All right, so there it is. So that's a thing. Got a few more to do. Got a few more to check out. Wanted to make sure we got this one done though. Unfortunately, I can't get it to where it looks good hitting Heihachi. What we can do in that regard, let's go to it always looks good. Let's do that again. Nope. The delay. Try. Hey, there you go. Now that looks fucking boss. Didn't have that fucking giant firework in the way. That'd be even better. So I can go high up. There we go. Do that. Let's frame that right dead center. Actually, let's pull that in some. Really focus in on it. Alright, so in order to do that, I'll need to get his foot here. Here we go. We'll take that tilt, bump it back just a tad, not much. Just so it's like the foot isn't all up on the fucking border. Alright, so from here, I don't know. Does that look nice? You know what does look nice? You know what actually would look nice? Here we go. Yeah, Hell Lancer. Let's go with that. Back that shit up. And the lighting will change too once it gets in the moonlight. Here, get some fucking distance. Ah, you bitch. There we go. There we go. Oh, that looks fucking raw. Oh, it looks fucking dank as shit. Alright, hold on. Here I was about to lose fucking hope. And suddenly... Yeah, I don't like that fucking billow. That's kind of jank, but we can fix that with a fucking well-placed foot. Oh, that's hardcore. Alright, let's fuck with the balance on that, because that is definitely too washed out here, but we can definitely fuck with that. Definitely. Even the field of view slider's good on that. I mean... Doesn't even need to be much closer. In fact, we could probably extend it out just a little bit. Getting more emphasis on a foot in your face. So. There we go. That's better. Let's go with that. That's definitely helping that there. Oh, alright. I think this is about as good as we're going to get it. So let's go with that. Let's go with that. And now I probably need to take my dogs out to go pee. So what I'm going to do is post these up. You'll actually be able to catch them on the Tekken subreddit as well as my Nvidia profile, which I'll go ahead and link to and drop that in the chat just in case. Beautiful. Alright. So actually, let's go to done. Let's pause that. Let's Alt-Tab out real quick. Alright, so let's take a look at what we've worked on today. Super res is always the best way to be, because once you get super res, you can really get all the details and take a look at all the things that the game engine itself wouldn't show you. Well, that can be a good and bad thing. So, I mean, just for a couple shots I did the other night, for instance, whenever you have like a super res shot, you're like, oh, okay, cool, you know, it looks all cool and all, but when you zoom in, if it wants to actually show me what the fuck is up, still loading up all them pixels. So what happens when you have like an 80 meg PNG? There we go. And that's captured in engine. You know? And suddenly you have a much better picture than, I mean, hell, even the backgrounds look fucking dank. So you have a much better picture than what most of your marketing materials have, in my opinion. So yeah, so let's try to open up our first one that we did today. Yeah. And I'm sorry for not having the resolutions fit exactly the desktop resolution, and the resolution I run the game at is slightly differently, so I can get a little more smoother performance out of Ansel. I could push it to 4K and really make it work, but it gets really choppy and it takes a long ass time to process screenshots that way. because it's just trying to calculate so much of the bullshit. Here we go. Angry Kaz. Who's surprised? That looks like some shit you'd see in a Jim Sterling video. Give it a second to actually finish loading here. While I'm here, I might as well crank up music a little bit too. I don't know how loud the music was the whole time, but hey, it has some more Guilty Gear. Yeah. So you got more of that drama. That's the way the light arcs off the face. It's all super nice like that. Yeah, this guy right here, this looks really cool. I'm really proud of this one. This looks super fucking G. I mean, this is just basically going to be a bonus. He wanted Electric Wind Godfist, but I'm like, yo, you get that freaking... I forget what it's called, but it's basically the same motion with a left kick. Damn, I need coffee. And let out the dogs. So, yep. Oh, here we go. Now we're able to zoom on in. Get every single bit of those trousers. Yes, sir. Look at that trouser detail. Now, what's wild is you can go even higher than this. It takes a long time to process, though. In fact, fuck it. Let's go take a look. Alright, so let's, here we go. Here we go. Let's actually crank that down some. Alright, so then let's go ahead and Alright, so let's just do that for the shit of it. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then after that, I'll go take out my dogs while I process the big one. So let's go, we could do 25 times. Be a little fucking ridiculous, but how about let's go 15 times the size. Okay, method enhanced. Yeah, let's go fucking enhanced. Fuck it, let's do it. Ready to rock? Alright. Balling out of control in 3, 2, 1. Nope. That's definitely not balling out of control. Let's try that again. In 3, 2, 1. All right, boys. Let's go pee.
Get up to rock, get up to burn, stand with the fight, ever feel your desire. One day I noticed that my life was broken. It was not me who was controlling this body. I want to know what's really real to me. Before it vanishes like a wave. Get up to rock, get up to burn, stand with the fight on me, the ways to make it. You must have heard it. Grasp the truth, hold it high. Life is peace, that's what this makes us suffer. Don't be afraid to listen to your own heart.
Did a good job out there, you boys. Want a cookie? That picture's almost done. Alright, so. One more cookie. One cookie? Oh, it's finished. Alright, so. Alright. Alright. Show me sit. Tank, sit. Good boy. Show me lay down. Show me lay down. Lay down. All the way, buddy. Dino, lay all the way down. Lay down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good boys. All right. So, cool. Now that we're here, we get this all set up. Say done. And then let's back out of here and let's go take a look at just how large this fucking image is. Oh, it says 0 bytes because it ain't even done fucking processing yet. How fun is that shit? That's hilarious. It's not even done processing that fucking image yet. 576 megabytes. Supposedly. Yep. 576 megs. That's half a gigabyte. You know, fucking image. Let's open it up. Let's take a look. It's gonna take a while for it to resolve. Oh, what the hell? What's going on with like the double shaky look? Might be just a side effect of it trying to like process it. I hope it didn't give it some sort of weird shaky cam effect. That'd be fucked up. Enhanced my ass. Ugh. Some fucking drunk Kazuya looking shit. I have no idea what the fuck this is. So, let's zoom the hell in, because it's got to finish processing. It hasn't even finished loading that fucking image yet. Perfect time to go check Twitter if you ask me. Damn, it's still loading? Wow, it still hasn't figured it out yet? Jesus, man. Didn't do that to any of the other ones. Yeah, see? Didn't do that to any other ones. Fucking stupid weird. It's too good for Microsoft Photos to handle. Much too large. Fucking double visioned everything. What a fucking crock. Get rid of that bitch. What a pain in the ass. Anyway, it's been fun. Hopefully my workflow gives you some insight into what you can do with Ansel. There's a lot of other stuff you can do with it. There's a lot of other things that unfortunately were taken out of previous versions that were really cool, that enabled me to get like oil painting style effects or stained glass style effects that for some reason Nvidia took it out. I have no idea. But it was really rad and came up with some really cool stuff on occasion, and I can't do it anymore because they don't like letting you have good things. They can't even get stuff to stop snapping on the bars that allow you to slide, or slider bars, whatever. So I'm sure they'll fix it one day, or maybe they won't. But anyway, this is something I'll continue to do. I'll probably post up a couple more of these videos just to kind of let you in my thought process. I'll probably do one on lighter backgrounds next time, so you can kind of see what I do to make colors pop and action pop. And yeah, sounds good. Thanks for tuning in, even if it's after the fact. And yeah, Catch y'all next time.